So both of these players had a really strong tournament thus far. Didn't quite make it to the finals. Playing out the third, fourth match. Game loads up. Druid versus Priest. Sniped again. Going second with the coin. Decides to get rid of the Cabal. The Cabal that was such a big deal against Druid the last time he played it. But it is a 6-mana card, and he may want to draw into it later. Right. Wild Pyromancer, Dark Cultist, Thoughtsteal. All very strong cards against Druid. Wild Pyromancer is a little more situational.
I think this is the fastest draw. Well, I mean, this is the first time we've seen Leper Gnome out of Teechu.
It is. It is the first time we've seen Leper Gnome, so that answers the question of just how many Death Rattle minions are in here with this Undertaker.
Right, it seems like this was a much more aggressive deck than we first expected.
Leper Gnome, Druid. This is probably why he's playing the Gnomish Inventors and the Azure Drakes, because card economy-wise, running things like Undertaker and Leper Gnome can cause you to run out of resources really easily. With the Gnomish Inventor and the Azure Drake, he wants to just try to curve out forever and make his opponent deal with everything he could ever play, and then hopefully just win with a combo.
Right, it's kind of one way to play Zoo without playing Zoo, which is to play the Gnomish Inventor and the Azure Drake.
So, sniped again. It looks like he may pull the trigger on the Wild Pyromancer now. He's got that Holy Smite, so he can clear it out really well.
That feels good when you get that Creeper under the Smite when you're playing Priest.
It does leave the Wild Pyro on 1 health, which means that Teechu can clear it out with his hero power really efficiently, but it would mean that, or with Wrath, I suppose, he's sort of reaching over for it, but his only play this turn would be Undertaker if he does it, and he doesn't actually have a follow-up of any more Death Rattle minions. So it's just going to be a 1-2 for the foreseeable future, and that probably will not be something that SnipedAgain is too worried about.
And he chooses to save the Wrath instead of cycling it. Saving the option deal 3 damage is probably a wise thing.
So SnipedAgain actually picks up a Chillwind Yeti, which is very strong for this curve here, and he decides to use his coin to go ahead and give it that powered shield. So it's a 4/7, which can be very, very difficult for Druids to deal with. I think Teechu doesn't actually have a great answer now. He picks up a Savage Roar. Perhaps not what he wanted to see ideally. That Chillwind Yeti is probably going to do some serious work.
It will be. Druids have very little way of dealing with just a big health minion. And yeah, that thing is just out of reach of everything that Teechu can throw at it, other than something like Argent Commander Wrath, which will be for a long time.
So he decides to just play the Sludge Belcher instead of healing and playing the Dark Cultist. It does use his cards more quickly, but it doesn't leverage his hero power, into any additional benefit or additional gain. Additional value, I guess, is what I should be saying, considering I'm sitting next to the mayor.
Thank you, thank you.
So Swipe comes out, he picks up a Swipe, smashes it in. He's holding double Savage Roar, so he actually doesn't have a great way to finish the game yet with just the Roars.
That's right, and he does pick up an Innervate, so if he picks up Force of Nature, he can go for the combo, but the Priest is currently sitting pretty on that Sludge Belcher. And like you mentioned a turn before, the Priest did have the option to Dark Cultist and heal, and that would have brought the Yeti out of range of being able to be knocked down by the Druid's damage spells there.
It's really actually not such a bad position to be in, though, because SnipedAgain would not have the Sludge Belcher in play if he were to make that other play.
Right, it's just a question of how fast do you want to play the game. In this case, SnipedAgain is choosing to play it a bit faster with the better card instead of using the hero ability.
The Argent Commander comes down, and it does take out the front end of the Belcher, but it still doesn't leave anything open towards actually getting any damage on the Priest anytime soon. SnipedAgain definitely sitting pretty here. He's got a lot going on. He just decides to bash in. He leaves the 4-2. No, he's going to Holy Nova. So this is the safest play by far.
Right, a great play. He's essentially locking in his board position, uses a high mana cost spell in a way that's pretty difficult to use against Druid when Druid's just top decking.
And Azure Drake comes down for Teechu. He's digging for something that can help him fight against this board. Unfortunately, he's just going to have a 4-4. He decides not to attack the slime. It could just get healed with the hero power is probably what he's thinking. I don't think it's because he's worried about the 1 damage.
Still could be worth it just to leave the option of hero building the next turn, and it makes the opponent use 2 mana.
So Thoughtsteel comes out for SnipedAgain, and he gets a Druid of the Claw and a Leper Gnome. Both of which is still just more stuff. His whole hand is minions, and minions are probably going to be good enough to take the game at this point. SnipedAgain slams down the Loetheb, so he knows that he's very likely to keep this presence that he has through at least 1 more turn, and his opponent is at 16. He's even holding Druid of the Claw and even a Leper Gnome.
Yeah, these are tough times for Teechu.
As far as I can tell, this priest deck of SnipedAgain is not running any Akanai Soul Priest or Circle Accumulation.
Right. We did see another priest player, yes. I'm just making sure to fact check myself. Or was it SnipedAgain who played this priest?
I think we have seen him play it. We saw him play it in the semifinal.
Okay, that was the one with the 2 Cabal Shadow Priests.
Yeah. So really, really interesting sort of choices for these players, and SnipedAgain has basically full control at this point. Teechu's only chance to win would be to somehow put together 27 damage. There's no way he can clear out his opponent's board and still find that 27.
Right.
So a Keeper, or an Ancient Allure rather, although a very powerful card against Priests and something you usually want to have, it's usually better in a slower game. At this point, when he's at 8, he can't play the Ancient.
Right, I mean, his way of living another turn would be to heal for 5, but that is a miserable existence. And he'd rather just end it now, and I admire that from Teechu. He's too far behind to make anything happen at this point.
He's trying to find a way to kill himself outright. He can't kill himself all the way
quite.
this turn. He's 1 damage off self-lethal.
That's right.
1 damage off seppuku. But he goes out honorably. Teechu losing a game with the Druid deck. So SnipedAgain, still alive. The Priest against the Druid, that matchup, we've seen it win twice. Priest looking pretty strong.
Yeah, Priest is one of those classes that is overall pretty good, other than perhaps the exception of Hunter to some extent.